everybody? Hope all of y'all are doing undeniably fan-frickin-tastic out there. It's your boy, the Grand Poobah Booyah James SelfStandard. And folks, I think technically an interview can count as a Q&A video. And I know I said I wanted to do a Q&A video once a year. And this one kind of counts, I think. Because you see, recently I was interviewed for a newspaper article. Now, the newspaper I was interviewed for was strictly a local thing, you know, just for around my city. I've already gotten a few compliments on the news article itself about the interview, but I was thinking about my SSP audience too. So for anybody that didn't actually get to read the newspaper, I asked if it was alright to film said interview, and you're about to see the footage of that here in this video. Alright, so sit back and enjoy the footage.
Hello, I'm Rocky, and today we're interviewing James SelfStandard for the article in the News and Reporter called The Ringside. So, James, welcome to the interview. I'm glad you're here and look forward to a great interview. We've got some questions for you and want to find out about your wrestling career and your interest in it and what makes you tick. Okay? So, let's just start way back at the beginning. So, when you were young, who were the wrestlers that you looked up to and admired as a child growing up, and how did they inspire you?
All right, I'm just gonna limit this to 5, like the one that had the most impact on me, I guess. For starters, my favorite of all time, definitely The Undertaker. Alright, if you're going to call yourself the greatest of all time, you might want to look at somebody who's been there pretty much most of the time. His ability to adapt his character over the years was just incredible. Alright, Samoa Joe, TNA legend, he stood out and broke free of the normal physical limitations of what a wrestler should look like. Another one, definitely Mick Foley. He may act crazy and he may have been hardcore in his past, but deep down, he's a sweetheart and he's a big Christmas nerd. I love his jokes. And I pretty much love Jeff Hardy too, from an artistic standpoint. He always was an incredible high flyer, but he was also definitely artistic as well through his music and through his painting. And lastly, I'm going to give it to Christian Cage, who definitely underrated. Definitely underrated, and my finisher is based off his kill switch.
Right. Well, each one of those is very interesting, and each one stands on its own merit and for different reasons. So that's quite interesting. So what do you see as today's greatest challenges for wrestlers like yourself?
Oh, like definitely trying to get yourself booked, okay? And when you get yourself booked, it's one thing to get the fans behind you, but to find a way to somehow convince the owner or the booker of a certain wrestling promotion that you have value. You pretty much got to do something to make them a fan of your work. Alright? If you can get the crowd behind you, you got to find a way to get the boss behind you as well.
So what methods are out there, and how many variations of those? There has to be a number of ways to do that within such a large number of wrestlers.
Oh, definitely. Like, there's word of mouth. Like, there's definitely a clout issue going around. Like, you need to make sure that you have enough popularity to your name. But also, we live in a day and time of social media, and it can't be stressed enough for all these wrestlers out there using the internet to share about any promotion that they're on. Like, just get their name out there, you know?
Gotcha. So what methods are you using?
The same as everybody else. Cutting promos, editing what I can, filming what I can, posting what I can, sharing what I can, to just say, hey, I'm here, I got talent, but again, trying to make a booker one of your fans easier said than done, because every booker is different and every booker has a certain vision of what they want a wrestler to be on their show.
That has to be pretty time consuming to get that promo pulled together and get it out there to them.
Oh, but it's worth it. It's worth it, and it's not just for the booker specifically. When you're doing the work, you're not just doing it for the booker specifically. You need to do it for your own merit, I guess, because most of these independent wrestlers, they're like independent contractors, and you're marketing yourself as a product to say, hey, I have this talent, and your show will benefit from having my talent featured on your show.
Gotcha, I understand. So it doesn't hurt to get the fans involved and get them to
Exactly.
help sing your song for you.
Exactly.
So, well, in your career, where was your first win, and what do you specifically remember about that event?
Okay. When I started my wrestling career, professionally speaking, I was on a 0-59 losing streak. I was losing everywhere from here in Chester to up in Spartanburg. I took that losing streak with me up to North Carolina to Lincolnton. I was losing everywhere I went. Everywhere. But then I had found myself in this feud with the then Carolina's champion, Mickey Fulp, at Action Pack Wrestling in Chester, South Carolina. And we had this match of career versus title. And of all the places that could have been booked on the show, it was booked for the main event. And my first victory was a main event championship match. And I wasn't expecting to win that match, but I was shocked that I did, and it felt good.
No, that's interesting. And so that was a good kickoff, though, for your wins. You definitely remember that because you really weren't expecting it, yet it turned out positive for you.
Exactly.
Well, with that first win in mind, do you also remember your best performance and your worst performance, and can you tell us about those?
Okay, so I'm gonna do the worst performance first. Okay, I remember I was just starting off my wrestling career. This is just an example. I was just starting off my wrestling career, and I was in this match with a guy named Elijah Proctor. Anyway, I know that if I'm supposed to be getting hit with a clothesline, I'm supposed to duck, okay? He went to go throw it, and my mind said, oh, I got hit already. I fell down anyway. So he threw the clothesline, but my body panicked and I fell down anyway. So from that point on, I said, James, don't panic. You gotta take a hit. So, if you're gonna survive in this business, you gotta learn how to take a hit a few times. So,
You probably felt that hit and didn't even get hit.
exactly. So, I've convinced myself to take the hit.
Take the hit.
Yeah, and the best performance, I would say, definitely my match with Lucky Ali. Okay, Lucky Ali, me and him, we had a match on a show right before the pandemic shutdown of 2020. Ironically enough, it was a Friday the 13th against a guy named Lucky. But like, Lucky, he brought out the best in me, and it was an incredible match, and definitely in my top 5 right there.
Well, when was your first match? And sounds like you've got a lot of guys that are friends that have encouraged you along the way. So how many years have you been in wrestling? And you want to shout out some of the guys that have been encouraging to you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Okay. So, I started my professional wrestling career technically in 2019, and that's when I had my first match. But like, through the years, I've had other people that's like helped encourage and train me to like get myself ready for the wrestler that I am today. Elijah Proctor being one of them, Kid Riot, Chad Wilson, he, JD Drake, he's definitely doing a good job for me right now. Rob Killjoy, whenever I get the chance to train with him. Anytime I get low self-esteem about myself, I think back to those people that has invested time in me, and it really means a lot.
Well, your fans mean a lot to you also, I'm sure. And I've noticed you have a lot of young fans.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing too, because you're a young guy, and as you get older, those young fans will get older, and you'll have a fan base that you're gonna take right on up the ladder with you, so. What do you attribute that following of young fans to? What have you done to attract them?
Well, I think it's my mentality, okay, because a lot of people on the outside would look at my mind and the way I operate through life and think that I'm childlike, basically. But the truth is, I'm a wrestler that deals with autism and Asperger's on a daily basis, alright? And it's just my personality. And that's who I attribute my wrestling career to. I dedicate all my matches and all my performances to people who deal with mental health disorders, but if that reflects onto children who have different interests, then so be it. I mean, I love kids, and if they love me, then that's a win-win.
That's good. Now, the color blue is important to you,
And green.
and green. Those are your two colors, so.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about the significance of those?
Yes, green is definitely my favorite color because my last real name may be Ramsey, but my mom's maiden name is a green. So technically, I got that green blood in me. And blue, it just helps the green stand out more. The blue is the sidekick for the green.
Let's talk about your fans. Sometimes, I'm not specifically talking about your fans, but I'm speaking of fans that are at the match, at the Friday night here in Chester. Sometimes you may see some fans that are interested in seeing you win, or do you think that sometimes they're just interested in seeing that the other guy loses?
I guess it depends on who I'm facing. Like, there's been instances where I would lose a match, but after the match is over, I still get cheers of support louder than the boos the other guy was getting. So, I would hope to say that they want to see me more successful than another guy failing.
Sure they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you always want to see someone do well, and
Mm-hmm.
most people don't like a cheater, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's a good way to look at it. Okay. James, I know you have a rivalry, and I'm curious to know what words of warning do you have for him?
Tread lightly. Don't underestimate me. Yeah. I may look goofy, I may act weird and silly, but deep down, I got a fire in me, and you can't deny that.
And who are you directing that to?
Oh,
Can you say?
I definitely have this one rival that I've been facing off for a long time, since 2020, and he's known me way before I even had my first match. He's a guy named Ace Harris, and I actually have a match coming up with him later on this month. But Ace and I, we have fought in so many different places. We fought in Chester, South Carolina. We fought in Clinton. We fought in Spartanburg. We fought in, heck, we even fought in front of the Krusty Krab in Bikini Bottom. There's actual video footage of that somewhere. Okay. But yeah, Ace and I, we fought in a lot of places, and I think we're gonna be fighting forever.
Sounds like you two ran into each other at the Waffle House. There'd be another match in the parking lot.
Well, it happened in a Bilo parking lot too, so.
Oh, okay. You got an interesting catchphrase, booyah. And what gave you the idea for that catchphrase, and can you explain more about it?
Alright, so when I first started wrestling, I was trying to come off based as a cartoon character, like an animated being of just silliness. And I'm a big fan of 90s culture, and booyah was a big word back then. But nobody says booyah if they're sad. Nobody says booyah if they're down in the dumps. For me, booyah is definitely a good term to use if you're excited, okay? Me, my wrestling persona is about trying to help people see the brighter side of things. So when I tell them to booyah, that essentially means for them to cheer up, because I turned booyah into an acronym. It stands for Be Outrageously Optimistic Year Around. Booyah. That's what it means.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I've often wondered about that. So tell me about the plank.
Plank.
Now, I've seen Plank with you on every match, and I even saw Plank as a competitor once as a tag team match. And poor old Plank, he couldn't lean over the top rope and tag you too easily, but he was there.
He would be there. But the thing with Plank is, again, I'm a big cartoon nerd. One of my favorite cartoons from my youth was Ed, Edd n Eddy. There was a character on there named Johnny who was nicknamed Johnny 2x4 because he kept walking around with this wooden plank with a face on it. And I said, you know what? I like that. I'm going to take Plank with me to the ring, and mostly as like a mental inspiration, I guess, because I've been able to have different variations of Plank. I've been able to dress him up as myself. I've been able to decorate him in different styles. And Plank, he's like, if Undertaker can have an urn, I can have a Plank. It's like I draw mental power from it, something like that.
Cool, that's all right. So, well, thank you for your interview, and we wish you a lot of success and a lot of victories, and I know you'll continue to do well in your career as a professional wrestler. Thank you for coming and having this interview.
Thank you.
We all got a hillbilly ball down deep inside. No matter where you're from, you just can't hide it when the band starts playing and the fiddle saws. You can't have a hunt around here.
Booyah!
Pretty little country queens, man, you gotta admit, bellies in them jeans ain't nothing wrong. Just getting on your hillbilly boom, 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 boom.